Pompeii, buried by Mount Vesuvius. This city was frozen in time, providing us with a shocking window into the lost world of the Romans. But that window may close before all her secrets are revealed, as Pompeii comes under threat from all sides. Today, the greatest mystery may be, is the same force that conquered Pompeii the first time rumbling back to life?
We're all really worried that we'll actually be here the next time it erupts.
These walls, they were never meant to withstand all that they've been through. The threats are very real.
Now, experts are trying to solve the lingering riddles before it's too late, as they fan out across the site and use the latest technology and scientific detective work to uncover what Pompeii was like on the eve of its destruction.
We want to know who were these people and how were the last moments of their lives.
It's the year 79 AD. The people in the Roman town of Pompeii are going about their business. Shoppers out in the streets pick up their daily supplies. At home, people prepare for their day ahead. Slaves work away in the city's food industry. The bars are noisy and bustling, and gladiators are preparing for battle. But this day would change these people's lives forever. High above the city looms Mount Vesuvius, one of the most dangerous volcanoes on Earth. Few realize that for many of them, they have just one day left to live. A glowing cloud of volcanic gas and debris begins to roll down the slopes of Mount Vesuvius.
Smoke, ash, debris started to fall on Pompeii. They probably had no idea exactly what was happening. As the day progressed, more and more debris fell, and so this blocked doorways, walls collapsed, roofs collapsed, and so people got stuck in their homes, died that way. There were 6 surges of hot gas that flowed down and instantly killed with the heat whoever was left.
It took just 18 hours for Pompeii to be buried under millions of tons of volcanic ash and pumice. An entire living city wiped out, thousands of its people buried alive. The superheated air burns their lungs and melts their muscles. Their twisted and contorted bodies were quickly buried in ash. When they finally decomposed, their bodies left voids in the ground.
After the decomposition of the bodies, when the internal organs disappear, they keep this empty space, they form just still the bones, because the bones are very resistant to the decomposition.
Long ago, archaeologists realized that if they filled these voids with plaster, the body's shapes could be revealed. The casts they made have captivated the world.
Pompeii is unique in showing the emotions of people in their death throes and giving us a real human element that we don't get anywhere else. And I think that's what makes people fascinated by Pompeii. And we see them right in the context of their living spaces as they're hiding, or they're trying to leave, or they're rescuing their children.
But many mysteries remain about exactly how these people died. A team of scientists is now studying 15 bodies that were found together in the east of the city. The odd positions these bodies were found in intrigues team leader Lawrence Alapon.
It's very interesting how they found the bodies, because we find several groups together, 3 people together, 4 people together. It seems that they may be helping each other, and we want to know what's happened exactly with these people.
So who were they, and what were their final moments like? Using the latest in high technology, science may finally be on the cusp of solving this 2,000-year-old puzzle. To do so, they're scanning the casts in more detail than ever before, taking high-resolution photographs and then x-rays of their bones locked inside.
We can see the teeth. If we know the teeth, we can see about the diet. We can know the sex because we can see very well the morphology of the pelvis. We can know the age because for the growing of the bone.
One cast is particularly well preserved. Lawrence has already unlocked personal details of this man's life.
We know that he was between 25, 30 years old.
This young man also had a military sword, which leads Lawrence to think he was a soldier. But he's hoping to find out much more. He's taking the data back to his lab in Valencia, Spain, to try to put a face to him.
We want to know the last moment of this person, if he suffered or he was afraid, and all this we can see in this face.
The well-preserved sections of the cast are copied and then filled into other sections that are less detailed.
In this part, we can see the complete side of the cast. So we have to take the complete part for make what part is not complete or is missing. The nose is not completely at the end, but we have the width of the nose. So with this reference, we can know how long and which form was the nose. So we use what we have for complete what we have not.
The result is an image that is moving and strikingly lifelike of the young soldier who was buried 2,000 years ago.
When we see the face, we understand a lot of things immediately. The nose, the mouth, everything was people that from the south of Italy or the north of Africa. You give the human aspect, you will feel like that you are living the last moments of these people.
Lawrence has figured out what the man looked like, his occupation and age. But unfortunately, the bigger mysteries remain. What were his and the other victims' final moments like? What was Pompeii really like on the day it was covered in ash? Since it can't be solved here, it falls to other scientists documenting the site. But they're aware that time is running out.
Wind and rain, 3 million people annually who come through Pompeii. These are the things that chip away at the site.
Part of the threat is the numbers of people here, the record numbers that we get into Pompeii, the constant leaning up against walls and scraping against walls, people picking things off. All these issues serve as a very real threat to the preservation of Pompeii.
Centuries of exposure to the elements mean that this city is also coming under threat from potential landslides. One major landslide could bury the delicate buildings of Pompeii before all her secrets are revealed.
These walls, they were never meant to withstand all that they've been through. So we need to find new ways and new ideas for preserving those architectures. They will fall down.
But the deadliest danger still waits on the horizon.
The threat of Mount Vesuvius is a very real threat. Although we stand here in the shadow of the mountain trying to figure out what happened on that day, we're all really worried that we'll actually be here the next time it erupts.
Vesuvius has been described as being one of the most dangerous volcanoes on Earth. Because of the large population in the immediate vicinity of the volcano, there's a very high chance of severe destruction and, of course, high numbers of casualties.
In the wake of these new threats, scientists are now embarking on an ambitious plan to create the first ever 3D model of Pompeii. All its major buildings, monuments, and homes, to create a virtual copy of the city that will last forever. This monumental task is being carried out by architect Raphael Martinelli and his team. They're documenting over 2,000 buildings and miles of intricate roads, from the ancient Forum in the west to lavish villas in the north, and the magnificent amphitheater in the east of the city.
Il modello 3D è importante.
The 3D model is important as it allows us to see the location and current situation as it is now.
Stato di fatto, cioè è la prima
It's the
volta
first time that such an extended and complete digitalization of the whole site has been created.
così completa sull'intero.
Raphael's goal is to document every inch of this 66-hectare site and help answer unsolved mysteries, from how the Romans lived and interacted, to what different areas of the city can tell us about their final hours.
E quindi attraverso la somma di più informazioni
We can compare what we are finding, and it helps us see the changes in the buildings over time,
ci permette di progettare nuovi interventi,
and it allows us to plan new repairs to the buildings we're working on
ci permette di
and
programmare
helping their preservation and maintenance.
manutenzione ordinaria, sistematica e estremamente puntuale.
Raphael and his team begin by using a state-of-the-art, high-resolution laser scanner.
È una macchina che rileva
This machine measures a lot more than 1 million individual points in a second.
secondo e quindi riusciamo ad avere
It means we get very detailed information of the buildings we are scanning.
su quello che è l'oggetto di analisi.
Today, they're mapping the thermal baths in a building on the southern edge of the city called the House of Menander.
Quindi è
It's
una
one of the richest houses in all of Pompeii.
azioni, diciamo, ricche della città di Pompei.
Today, we are working in the bathroom area.
Termale.
As they scan, surprising new details come to life. Details long hidden from casual view. The team is surprised to discover how comfy a 2,000-year-old bathroom could be, if you had the money.
La casa era dotata
This house has its own small thermal bath. And although it's ordinary for us, this house had hot running water. Once the data is loaded onto their high-powered computers, Raphael can manipulate any of the buildings and monuments that they've scanned.
abbiamo informazioni
We are getting data about every single wall in the city and eventually the whole site.
dell'intero sito attraverso la somma
By
di
combining the work of the scanner and the computer program, the data then gives us a lifelike 3D model. Then we add a color layer,
cui possiamo
which is taken from photographs of the buildings.
colore che vengono estratti dalle fotografie.
Ultimately, Raphael and his team will provide a complete 3D model of the city as it is today, before further damage is done. It means future generations will be able to use this as a starting point to see what Pompeii might have looked like in the 1st century. From the lavish villas to the corner bars, from the amphitheater to the magnificent forum. Of course, none of this would be possible without the huge leaps in technology in recent years. It's revolutionizing the work in the field for Pompeii's scientists and archaeologists.
Well, one way that technology is really helping us to understand the city as archaeologists is through having tools like tablet computers. So, for example, the iPad. In the past, we would come and be reliant upon notepads and pencils and having to take all that paper-based work back to the home institutions to then be digitized and processed and thought about. The advent of tablet technology and also the cloud has helped us to bring those computer databases and bring all that wealth of information that was typically confined to our offices and our libraries and our museums and bring it to the trench side. So we're now able to excavate trenches here with our hands on the technology, which not only helps us to record in completely different ways, but also to be able to access that information as well. So it has wholly revolutionized the way we studied the past.
But state-of-the-art technology is not only helping the work of the scientists at Pompeii. In some cases, it's even challenging their preconceptions. The Quadriporticus in the south of the city. This sprawling building has long been thought of as a gladiator barracks, and that's still what many tourists are told when they visit Pompeii. Professor Eric Paler from the University of Massachusetts has been working this site for almost 20 years. For some time, he's had his doubts about the real use of the quadriporticus.
Over our 4 years of research, there have been a lot of clues that this building has not been used as a gladiator barracks. And not least among these is the fact that the building is elegantly constructed and decorated, including the remnants of fine wall paintings even in the latrine.
Now Eric's turning to new technology to help in his search for the truth about this building. He's using a handheld structure sensor. It's a versatile portable piece of equipment to capture 3D details of the site.
The personal scanner for us as archaeologists is a really amazing opportunity. Whereas before, we could take photos, we could make a sketch, but we could never get a really detailed picture of something. Now, with just a few minutes of time, we can not only get the idea that we're interested in, but capture the whole reality around it. And that's revolutionary.
The structure sensor fires a beam of infrared light at the architecture.
It's actually capturing the space as I kind of paint along the wall visually. Now, not only is it capturing the geometry, it's also capturing the imagery. So while we're at the one hand getting the space, we're also getting a sense of the texture.
As Eric traces his tablet across the entire surface of the building, he gets a complete picture, not just of what he can see, but also what he can't.
What we're seeing here is this hole here in the wall, which actually is a major sewer of the city. And you begin to see the scanner moving down the corridor, picking up more and more of the space.
The scanner plots the line of the sewer, giving Eric vital information about how the infrastructure here has been built. But crucially, without having to excavate.
There it is. Let me fill the holes. It's going to use the processor of the tablet to find any gaps that I've missed that are just small or were little areas that were behind a rock. And now I can zoom around in the space of this wall and show you the X-ray view. And now we're back behind the wall, and that is where that sewer is, right here.
The structure scanner is documenting how the sewer changes its path in order to accommodate the latrine. The addition of this new room and its position within the building helps Eric prove his theory that this was not meant for gladiators. Coupled with the quality of the decoration discovered previously, Eric believes this place was simply too elaborate for a group of fighters.
Pompeians went to a lot of trouble to renovate this building in a grand style in the years just before the eruption. The addition of the latrine, together with the rest of the architecture, makes it clear that this was going to be a public space, likely a market building.
It's not only mysteries of Pompeii's buildings that are being solved. Another team is battling to unlock the secrets of a forgotten library of ancient scrolls.
This is really exciting because we are using 21st century technology to read these 2,000 years old texts and trying to virtually unroll it.
Experts now wonder, could long-lost works of ancient literature be hidden under these charred remains? Pompeii was one of the first ancient cities to be uncovered at the dawn of archaeology. But despite over 250 years of traditional digging with spades and shovels, there is much that these ruins keep secret. Now, some scientists are turning to the very latest state-of-the-art technology to help solve age-old mysteries. Some that have been right in front of our eyes for centuries. Just 20 miles to the west of Pompeii lies its sister city, Herculaneum. It too was buried in ash in the eruption of Vesuvius. Scores of people who failed to heed the warning signs died here. Centuries later, in the mid-1700s, treasure hunters came across an extraordinary find. What looked like odd lumps of charcoal and burnt logs turned out to be scrolls of papyrus. Archaeologists realized they'd discovered a vast library of documents, one of the greatest ever found in Italy. Scholars hoped these may be lost classics, but these relics simply crumbled at the slightest touch. Now, for the first time, cutting-edge technology may finally help unravel their secrets.
This in my hands is 15 meters long, but it's only 5 centimeters now. So we have to virtually unroll it to see the letters inside.
In Grenoble, France, in the shadow of the Alps, Dr. Emmanuel Brun has been given exclusive access to the scrolls. They're using a machine called a synchrotron to attempt to see what's hidden within.
There are two challenges. One is to get the best images here at the synchrotron, and the other is the data analysis, try to really unroll it virtually, and that is difficult because we are dealing with huge amount of data.
During a massive surge from the eruption, the delicate papyrus carbonized so quickly that the scientists believed the inscriptions inside were effectively sealed in. To find out, the synchrotron produces X-rays that bombard the scrolls at close to the speed of light. When they pass through the papyrus and detect sections that contain ink, they're deflected and leave an image that the scientists can read. Although state-of-the-art technology, it is still an incredibly slow process. The ink used in antiquity was made from smoke residue. In density, it's almost identical to the carbonized papyrus itself. But the hope now is that the synchrotron will be able to distinguish between the two.
We have X-rays that are passing through the sample, and we can have, like that, cross-section of 1/10 of millimeter. And thanks to the deviation of the light, we can make the difference between the carbonized papyrus and the carbon-based ink.
Tantalizingly, some intriguing words and phrases are starting to be revealed.
So for the moment we have isolated two words, which are, the English translation is "they would fall" and "they would say." That's the two words that for the moment has been isolated. Now we can try and see inside, and maybe we can discover new texts that have been lost 2,000 years ago.
Although a painstaking task, once decoded, what will the scrolls reveal? Could they be the diaries of someone writing down their thoughts as the mountain above started to rumble?
The ambition is for medium term, let's say 5 to 10 years. We think that we might unroll what is possible to unroll, and then to isolate the different layers that are glued together and see what is inside the scrolls.
As the search continues to unravel lost secrets from these ancient scrolls, scientific research is being carried out in another part of France to unlock the mysteries of a favorite Roman pastime.